like I said, this CAT scale ticket, you can bring this back to the shipper and you'll show them, and that way they know exactly what part of your truck or your trailer is overweight and where they need to move some of the weight around or take it off altogether. What's up guys, Erudite Trucker here, back with another video. And today we're picking up a load of lumber. Lumber's pretty easy to deal with, so we'll get that squared away once we actually get loaded here. We're right now waiting in line to get loaded. It's a little bit later in the day than I care to be picking up freight. It's about 1 p.m. This morning we got held up for quite a long time getting unloaded with the load that we got parked up with last night, which was Sunday. I got parked up last night. I was about 13 miles away from the Consignee, which didn't have on-site parking. So I was parked about as close as I could get, really the closest area that I could get to it. There was a little area that I was able to find and hang out until the morning. I got up and drove to the Consignee, got there at 8 o'clock, and let me tell you, I don't know what was going on at this place, but I sat around after I got everything unsecured. It was a load of drywall, and I got everything unsecured, got the tarp pulled off, the straps taken off, and I got all my securement put away, and I'm waiting there. Let me tell you, as I said, I got there at 8 a.m. They did not come around and start unloading the truck until 10:40 a.m. I was not happy about that, to say the least. And even once they got started with that, they didn't get finished unloading until about 11:45. So that sucks. And with today being like it's a Monday, so the loads, how TMC distributes them, is first come first serve. So the guys who get unloaded earlier, and you send in your empty to let your dispatcher know, you're kind of like on the load board, kind of like on a list, first, second, third, and so on and so forth, depending on how the guys put their empty in. So with me not putting my empty in until almost noon, all the top tier, the best paying freight is already picked over, so I gotta kind of like take what I can get out of the area, and it sucks. So I'm not in the best of moods about that, especially since it's something that was out of my control. Like I said, I got parked up last night, got to the Consignee early in the morning, and it's like a fail. It's a fail. Despite me doing everything that I needed to be doing to put myself in the best position, just the Consignee just was really slow to get to me unloading. I think really what it was a place that had preloaded trailers. So I think that what they were doing, they were setting up all of their preloaded trailers for the morning, so that as the drivers were coming in to pick up those preloads, they would be ready and they wouldn't have a whole bunch of guys sitting around. So I guess, unloading me was on the back burner, until they got done with enough of those, which sucks, but it's the nature of the beast. Sometimes you can't really do anything to alter that. But I definitely put in for my detention pay because of that. So, but here we are to pick up a load of lumber. I'll let you guys see what we're looking at. So we're going to be driving around straight through this bend, kind of through their lumber yard, and coming back around the front and getting secured. And despite how much this morning was not in my favor or didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, this load I don't have to drive that far, so I won't be in a position where I won't be all the way at the Consignee for this load. I believe I only have to drive 4.5 hours up north to go deliver this. I'm delivering it to a I believe I'm delivering to a Lowe's So I know for sure they got parking. The vast majority of Lowe's or Home Depots, they have a lot where they will let you park overnight and you got no problem. So hopefully tomorrow will be set straight, so I'll get unloaded early in the morning tomorrow, because Lowe's, Home Depot, they usually begin unloading at 7 a.m., 7 or 8. So I'll be able to put my empty in at a good time and hopefully get a load that's going to pay well and send me in a good direction, because today is not it. It is not it. It's not what I want, and to me, I almost want to say it's like a waste of time, but I mean, it's money in my pocket, but I mean, it's less money than I would want to be out on the road dealing with. But that happens sometimes. Definitely the majority of my days are not like that, but just when crap happens, you know, it just stinks a little bit, but we'll get through it. We always do. So we'll get some footage of the load and me securing this once we actually get pulled around the front to get loaded, and we'll catch back up with you guys then. Alright guys, we're all loaded up. I'll let you guys check out what we're hauling today. It's pretty noisy out here, but there's a lot of action going on right now, but let me show you what we got. Pretty standard lumber load. But this place, they have a scale on site, and I'm going to use that to make sure I'm not overweight. It's a customer scale or a shipper scale, and you never want to put 100% of your trust into that. You can use it to get an estimate, just to see what range you're in, but always go to a CAT scale if you want to know exactly what you got, and if you want to be able to defer to something accurate that you can use. If the DOT pulls you over and tries to say that you're overweight, you can't do that with a shipper scale. They're not going to back you up once you leave. So let's go ahead and scale out, and if we are at legal weight, we can go ahead and strap down this load and start heading down the road to the CAT scale. If not, we're gonna have them take some of this weight off of here before we leave. So let's see what we got. All right guys, I used the scale there. I didn't get to do that on camera, but everything totaled up has us at 79,740 pounds, which that is DOT legal for what we're hauling on this truck here. The maximum that you can haul legally is 80,000 pounds. But keep in mind, within that 80,000 pounds, that's specified. Each axle can only have so much weight. So just to, I guess, let you guys know for your own information here, what we're hauling just a standard 48-foot length flatbed trailer. So our max weights for the axles that you guys need to keep in mind is for, let me get out also so I can show you. right, so your steering axles, that'll be up front here. The axles that are, of course, steering the truck. So the maximum weight that you can haul for that is going to be 32,200 pounds. Okay, so next we'll go back to our next set of axles, and we have duals here for this. This will be our drive axles. This is where all your drive power, the pushing power or pulling power comes from for your truck. These two axles right here. The maximum weight that you can have on these axles is 34,000 pounds. Okay, and then we'll go to our last set of axles, the trailer axles, and we have two different sets of those. So you have your first set of trailer axles here, and then your second set right here. And between the two of them, the maximum weight that can be put on that is 40,000 pounds. Okay, now out of all of that, with all the whatever weight you're hauling, the combined total weight that is on your trailer axles, your drive axles, and your steering axle up here, that total weight of those three sets cannot exceed 80,000 pounds. Now, you can have situations where individually all three sets of those axles are of their legal weight, like you're below the legal maximum for each of those weights. So the 13,200 for your steering axle, the 34,000 for your drive axles, and the 40,000 for your trailer axles. You can individually be underweight. So say you could have, say, 11,000 pounds on your steer axles, and you could have like 33,000 pounds on your drive axles, and then 38,000, just for example, on your trailer axles. Now, if that total amount of weight for each of those axles, when you add the three of them up, if that is higher than a total of 80,000 pounds, and you're hauling just a standard trailer, you're not doing oversized, heavy haul or anything like that, just standard flatbed trailer, if that total weight for those three is heavier than 80,000 pounds, it doesn't matter if individually you're still underweight for all of them. You're not hauling the weight legally. It's illegal. It's too heavy. Okay, so you got to keep that in mind. You need to know what those maximum weights are, and you need to always add them up and make sure that they're not higher than the total of 80,000. That's why you need to go to the CAT scales, because the CAT scale will weigh all that out for you, and it is going to be accurate. Okay, CAT scale, C-A-T. And you'll see those scales at the majority of like the big mainstream truck stops, and sometimes you'll find them at mom and pop truck stops as well. And they'll give you a ticket, and actually I'll show you guys for this one, because I'm gonna actually get a CAT scale weight for this load, because this place has a reputation for loading a little heavy sometimes. So, and you don't want to trust, as I said before, you don't want to put 100% of your trust into the shipper's scale, because you don't know if their scale is accurate or not. They don't give you a guarantee to say if you get an overweight ticket, you can call them on their number and they'll come in there, represent you, and they'll basically fight the ticket for you. Your shipper's not going to do that. But CAT scale, that's part of their business, that they do that, I guess. Or not I guess, I know for a fact that's what they do. So you can trust them. You can trust them because they put themselves legally on the hook, or contractually on the hook for that. But the shipper scale, you can just use that to get an estimate, and I'm close enough, or I'm far enough away from the max, because as I said, my weight was 79,740. So I'm 200 and some odd, like what, 260 pounds, I think, away from the max, but I'm not gonna put trust in that. I mean, that should be relatively accurate, but I want to be exact. Okay, I want to be exact, because I don't want to be out there sweating bullets or nervous if I have to go across a DOT scale. So I'm gonna go get a CAT scale weight on this load and see what the weight actually is with 100% accuracy. And that way, if it is too heavy, I can just come right back here to the shipper. I don't want to have to do that, but I'd rather do that than get an overweight ticket. I can come back here, show them, hey, I'm overweight on whatever axle, or my gross weight I need to have some of this freight taken off. Because by itself, if you weigh yourself out at most shippers scales, if you show as you're weighing a legal weight, like you're underneath the 80,000 or you're underneath the max axle weights, they're not going to want to take any of that freight off. Even if you think their scales aren't accurate, you're going to have a CAT scale ticket in most cases and show them that as proof to say, hey, nah, your scale's not right, I got this. And they can't really dispute that, and then they're going to have to take some of the freight off. Most of the time, you probably won't have a whole bunch of fight from a shipper about taking the weight off, but that CAT scale pretty much eliminates any possibility of them trying to not help you out on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this weight secured, and we'll go ahead and get our BOL, and we'll head to the CAT scale, and hopefully we will be 100% clear to get up out of here and keep on moving, because fortunately the CAT scale that I'm going to go to is right along my path for where I need to be going anyways, about 20 minutes up the road. So let's go ahead and get it, and we'll be on our way. All right, guys, first thing that I'm going to do, like I always do with every load, is I'm going to put up my forward movement protection. And this is a lumber load, so we're just going to use X straps, standard. There, and I want to put my strap underneath the wood so it'll stand a better chance, it'll have a better grip on the load than putting it on the outside like that. Let's put it underneath so it holds it from below. Let's put that up there, see if we can. Have that X where your two straps intersect. You want to have that as close to the middle as the load as you can. This one, the one on the passenger side, sticks forward a little bit, so it's not going to be exactly in the middle, but we have it placed so that it'll give us good coverage from the bottom of the load to the top on both sides, help us restrict this freight from coming forward. And when you're throwing your X straps and you're ratcheting them down, you want to make sure that you put your 2-inch ratchets in the same spot on both sides of the trailer, so that weight is getting pulled evenly. So I already looked through the bottom portion here, and you can kind of see it on the other side, but I have my 2-inch ratchet in the same spot on the opposite side of the trailer. That way we have even coverage and the weight is being equally pulled in the same place, so that nothing gets lopsided in the event that the load does shift for any reason, which it should not if you are properly securing it. All right, we're good. And I'm gonna end up doing something else with this. I'm gonna put a bungee on here to secure all of this slack. I mean, it's held down tightly by the tension for the ratchet here. So I mean, it's not gonna move. I mean, I'm tugging on it, I'm pulling it in the direction that's not moving, but the more protection you put on something, the more securement, the better. So we'll go ahead and do that, and I'll show you guys what I do for that. Way that's facing. All right. There we go. All right, so that's set. We got our forward movement protection. Now let's go ahead and throw the straps over top of this load. And the thing with most lumber loads, usually, at least in my experience, they don't really give you the information of how much it is, like the total weight, because the weight of lumber can change depending on the moisture content, and while it is dry out here, you still, or at least I still, fairly rarely get an accurate weight from a shipper for the lumber. I mean, usually it'll be like some rounded up number that's not as exact as I would like it to be, but just another reason to go to the cat scale. That way you know what you've got. All right, so we need to have 2 pieces of securement within the first 5 feet. We've got our X strap right here, and I want to throw this first strap over top of this X strap to hold that in place. All right, right over there. I take this forward a little bit. Now this bottom 2 tiers of lumber here, it's about 12 feet long from what I was measuring. And let's see, hold on. Yep, actually, yeah, I should have looked at that right there. It says 12 feet. What I had done, I always use my feet to help me measure, because my foot is right on a foot long, size 12 shoes. So I just walk foot to foot when I'm around my freight, and that lets me know how far apart everything is. So that's just the quick math that I always use, because you're not always going to have your freight labeled like that. So we need to put 3 pieces of securement on each of these tiers here. So I'm going to put 1 in the front, 1 in the rear, and 1 in the middle. That one right here, this one, that's just a belly strap. Since this load, or this portion of the load, is higher than 2 tiers, it's 3 tiers. So if anything, 2 tiers, or anything past 2 tiers, needs to have a belly strap on it. So that first one's got a belly strap. There's no belly strap on these middle 2 portions, because those are each only 2 tiers high. And then this rear portion right here, this is 3 tiers, so we have a belly strap on that also. And you always want to make sure that you are alternating the side that you throw your straps from, so that you have that even pull on either side of the load, so it's even, it's equal. And if you take a turn or a curb too quickly, the weight doesn't shift to one side or the other, because all of your pull from the winch down side of your trailer here doesn't pull your freight one way. So we're going to throw our straps in the select places on the driver's side, and then we're going to go onto the passenger side and throw our remaining straps where they need to be. So this one, I have my first 2 straps, one in the front, not counting the belly strap, but one in the front and one in the rear. So when I go to the passenger side, I'm going to throw that one right here in the sensor, and the winch down side is going to be right around here. So since this one right here is the buckle side, that means we're gonna skip right here, and we'll go to the passenger side. We'll throw our front strap here and our rear strap there. So we'll throw our middle strap right here. So it's buckle. This will be the winch side, so this will be right here. So that means we're going to be throwing our next buckle right here in the middle on this side. And we're going to do that same thing down the length of the trailer using that same alternating process. All right, now this one right here, this set of lumber is only 8 feet long. So with it only being 8 feet long, we only need to put 2 straps on this one. So I'm gonna have the buckle on this side, and then I'm gonna go to the other side, and I'm gonna throw the winch down side over. Oh, here we go. We got one here. This one is 16 feet. So this one's different here. So with this one being 16 feet, we're going to end up throwing 4 straps on this one to properly secure this one in the very rear. Okay. So let's get to it. I wish all the loads were like this one, as far as like being easily marked. You don't have to do anything or think about it at all. So I'm just so used to not having it there that I already had my own game plan set up. I still measured everything. I didn't even read those labels. Not until just now. I was just going through there, counting everything myself, preparing to do what I normally do. When you're wrapping up the excess of your strap, you always want to make sure you fold it up in a way that you can use it to protect the strap from getting cut on the rail. And once you're done folding it up like this, you take it behind the strap, and I like to put it here underneath. Well, of course, it doesn't fit right there, not this time, but I put it underneath the strap. That way it's protection between this thin strap right here and then this rail, so that your strap doesn't get cut. Right there, you have this padding protecting the whole thing. There we go. All right, let's see, we're all strapped up here. Now we got the excess for this 2-inch strap that we did the X strap with. So what I do to secure that and make sure that this doesn't come loose and get caught up in the tires down here, I take a bungee, feed it through the rabbit ears, going under and over, and I hook the bottom end to a rail, and I pull the other end tight, put that into another rail, and now that's secure. That's held tight and it won't come loose. If it does happen to work its way from behind the ratchet, which it should not, and that way it won't get caught up in this wheel and cause some kind of catastrophe with that. But we are all set. Let's see here. You're all set. 2 straps within the first 5 feet. We got 3 straps actually, so we're more than covered with that. And we had the appropriate number of straps going down the length of the trailer here. Everything looks beautiful. It's making that sound. That's the sound your straps will make when they are very tight, and that's what you want. I check all my straps and make sure that they are all tight, and preferably making that sound when I knock on them. So we're good to go. We're gonna go ahead and get our BOL and get on the road.
Continue on I-85.
All right, guys, here we are. We're about 20 minutes up the road. We went to the first truck stop that had an available cat scale, which fortunately for this load was close, because sometimes the cat scale is not going to be directly in your route, or if there is one, it's going to be far up the road. And if you're going to cat scale your freight, you want to be using the cat scale that is the closest to where you currently are, even if it's not in line with the direction you need to go. Like if you have to drive out of route a little bit, you still want to go to the closest one to you, just in case you're heavy and you need to drive back to the consignee. Well, not the consignee, I'm sorry, the shipper. If you have to turn back around and go back to the shipper and get them to take some of that freight off, you want to be as close to them as possible. That way you're not driving, you know, an hour in the direction that you're supposed to deliver, and then you have to drive an hour back when you find out that your freight is too heavy. But like I said, I was 15 minutes or 20 minutes up the road from where I picked up, and we are good to go. Let's see here. The weight that I had calculated the trailer to be, based off of the shipper's scale that they had on site, I calculated my load to be 79,740 pounds. And I'll show you what I got here. You can see my weight right there, 79,600. So the shipper's scale actually overestimated my weight a little bit, which I suppose would be preferable. I mean, like a few pounds, maybe like 10, 20 pounds of the weight that I have right now is that weight minus the amount of fuel that I burned driving 20 minutes up the road, which wouldn't have been very much in terms of gallons. But I'd rather have the shipper's scale weigh me as being heavy than have it weigh me as being light. Because that way, if it weighs me as being heavy on their site or on site with them, then it's gonna be, well, I can tell them, hey, you guys loaded me too heavy, you can take some off. And that way I haven't even left. And I haven't lost any time driving on the road, wasting my time having to come back when I weigh out on the scale that's too heavy. Versus their scale saying that I'm not as heavy as I actually am. Okay, and then I leave their site and I got a heavy truck and I think that I might not. That's why you always use, or why I prefer to use, a CAT scale to get 100% accuracy, or at least get reliable accuracy that I can defer back to CAT with. See right there, CAT scale, certified automated truck scale. I like that certified part right there. And they give you that certificate of weight and measure that lets you know that it is accurate, and they are putting their company name on the line for that. And they got their own little process up here. If you happen to be overweight, you know, and you weigh out on one of their scales and their scale says that you are not overweight, like it's weighed all your axles and it shows that you are an accurate weight, and the weight that has been shown to be accurate for their scales shows, like a DOT, it says that you're not. And basically, if their scale is wrong, they're the ones that are going to come to court and either pay your ticket or they'll get somebody to deal with that for you. So there's no cost to you, or there will be cost to you up front, but I suppose you can basically defer it to them and they'll pay you the money back. I haven't ever had to go through that to have that kind of mess to deal with, fortunately. Hopefully I never ever will. But yeah, get yourself a CAT scale ticket. And for the company that I'm with here at TMC, they pay for the CAT scales. We have a company card that you use for fuel, and you use that same card to pay for any CAT scale that you need to use. And the CAT scales are $13 at the point of recording this video here. So it's charged to the company card. It's not any money out of your pocket. And in fact, the company wants you to scale the loads. That way you don't have to deal with having an overweight ticket going through a DOT scale. You know, you can go back to the shipper, get it addressed. Now, had I been overweight, which I have had that happen to me before, you get this scale ticket as proof. You call your fleet manager, let them know that you're overweight, unless you can, you know, possibly, you know, move your fifth wheel, slide it forward and back, but that's not for this video. That's a little bit more of a complicated issue. So the basic thing you would do, you would get the scale ticket, let your fleet manager know, and say you're too heavy for, even if you did move your fifth wheel, you'd still be overweight. Your fleet manager is going to let them know, the shipper, that you need to come back, and then they're going to need to take some of that weight off of you and adjust the freight. And that's all you got to do. Like I said, this CAT scale ticket, you can bring this back to the shipper and you'll show them, and that way they know exactly what part of your truck or your trailer is overweight and where they need to move some of the weight around or take it off altogether. You know, this right here will clear up a lot of confusion. And then of course, if you do need to take your freight back and they adjust the weight, they take some of it off, I would come back and scale your load again. That way you know exactly what you have, and you know that you're riding legally on the road and you won't have any problems. Say, like, if they didn't take enough of the weight off, or they adjusted the weight and they just put some of the weight on the different axles, you want to make sure that you're not heavy at all. So this is always going to be the final say for me. So I know I'm good with this. All of my axles are underweight, so we're good. So you can see right there, my steer axle, 11,720, and the max on that could be 13,200. Drive axle, 33,860, which that's close. That's close. The max you can have on your drive axles is 34,000, but you can see that number's far under that. And my trailer axles They don't show you the individual weights for the 2 trailer axles, they combine them. So that's 34,020 pounds, and the max that I could have is 40,000 pounds. And you can see the gross weight, these 3 here added together, is totaled up to 79,600. Now the max that I could have, as I said earlier, is 80,000 pounds flat. Okay, now I'm legal, I'm underneath the legal maximum for all of these, all 4. Okay, so I am good to go. And I even have a little bit of space to add some fuel to this. So I could add enough fuel to here to get me right up to that 80,000. I wouldn't do that. I would probably get myself up to maybe like 79,900. And of course I would fuel up, or I would do there's a math calculation I could do. I'll explain to you guys in a separate video, but there's a math calculation I could do to see how much weight I could add total in fuel. But you also want to check, and you need to do the calculation with the drive axle, because that's where your fuel is really going to be centered. Your fuel tanks, at least on well, I'd pretty much say almost every truck, your fuel tanks are going to be right over top of where your drive axles are, or the weight is going to be distributed on the drive axle. So you want to make sure that any fuel that you do add to your truck does not put you over that 34,000 mark, and also does not put you over that 80,000 mark. So those are the 2 numbers that you're going to watch out for. But I'll make a different video that'll explain that and give you guys the math calculations that I use for that. But without further ado, we're completely good, and we've got half a tank of fuel, so I don't really need to add anything to this. I think I can drive the last 4.5 hours without fueling. Yeah, I probably will just do that. So let's go ahead and get on the road. We got ourselves 4 hours, 15 minutes to go till we get to this Lowe's to get delivered and get parked up for the night. So let's head out. What's up, guys? It's the next morning. We're here at the store, and it is a chilly 21 degrees out here this morning. But we're ready for that, dressed appropriately, and the load made it here just fine. Didn't really have to do any adjustments during my load checks on the way up here. And since we're dealing with just standard lumber, the easy thing about it is all I got to do is take down these straps. I don't have to deal with any tarps, no edge protectors, nothing special. So lumber is really quick and easy as far as securing it and unsecuring it. So let's go ahead and get that knocked out so we can put it in our empty and pick up something new. guys, they're unloading the trailer right now. They're just about finished, but when it's like this and I've got some downtime, I've got all my securement already put away. So this is usually when I'm doing my prep work for the morning, you know, making my breakfast, checking my emails, making phone calls, you know, to friends or family members, anybody I want to talk to before I really get going for the day. It's just making a good use of my time, because usually when I start my clock and I get work and I want to just go straight through, and I don't really deviate too much time to do anything else, just because I want to get my work day done as early as I can once I start the clock. We still don't have a dispatch yet. It's around it's a little bit before 9, so I'm probably gonna end up driving to the side of the building and just park the truck and just hang out there while I'm waiting. Get a little bit of rest in. Hopefully we get dispatched on a high-paying load, because it's really early in the morning still, so there should be some good ones out there for the area that I'm in as well. It won't be like yesterday where we didn't get dispatched until almost noon, you know, so we'll see what we got going once that comes through. Alright guys, we got our next dispatch. It's about 2.5 hours away, so we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves up on the road, and we'll knock the video off right there, guys. Alright, thanks for joining me on this one. Hopefully you learned a little bit about scaling your loads during this video. And Erudite Trucker, out.